Have you ever noticed how we spend our entire lives trying to stand on our own 2 feet, only to realize that the ground feels completely different the moment our parents are no longer standing on it with us? It's the one life event that's almost universal, yet it catches us completely off guard. We're taught how to build careers, how to buy homes, and how to raise our own children. But there is no orientation for the day you become an adult orphan. Whether it happens when you're 20 or when you're 60, losing your parents is more than just a period of sadness. It's a fundamental shift in your internal GPS. It's the day the shield between you and the rest of the world disappears. And here's what nobody tells you. The psychology of losing a parent isn't just about grief. It's about the total, silent reconstruction of who you are. In psychology, parents are often what we call our primary witnesses. From the second you were born, they were the keepers of your history. They remembered the things you've forgotten. Your first words, the way you looked when you were 5, or the specific way you cried when you lost your favorite toy. When you lose a parent, you lose a piece of your own story. You lose the person you would call to ask, "Hey, did I have the measles when I was 3? Or what was the name of that street we lived on?" Research published in the Journal of Loss and Trauma suggests that this specific type of grief is so profound because it triggers identity disruption. Without your parents, your role in the world shifts overnight. You're no longer anyone's child. You've been promoted to the older generation without ever applying for the job. This shift forces your brain to recalibrate your entire sense of self, often leading to a period where you feel strangely untethered, like a kite that just had its string cut. There's a specific psychological phenomenon that happens after the death of a parent, a sudden, sharp awareness of your own mortality. Psychologists call this the collapse of the generational buffer. As long as your parents are alive, they're ahead of you in the queue of life. They're the shield between you and the inevitable. When they pass, you move to the front of the line. This isn't just a grim realization, it actually changes how your brain processes time. A study on midlife bereavement found that after losing a parent, many people experience a value reset. Things that seemed incredibly important, like corporate status, petty arguments, or keeping up appearances, suddenly feel trivial. Your brain moves from a promotion focus, which is the drive to gain more, to a prevention focus, which is the drive to cherish and protect what is left. This is why so many people make radical life changes like switching careers or finally taking that trip shortly after a parent passes. It's the brain's way of saying, the clock is real now. What are we doing with the time we have left? But here's where the science gets fascinating. We often talk about death as a final goodbye, but psychologically and biologically, it's a transition into a different kind of presence. You've probably noticed it already. You catch your reflection in a mirror and see your mother's eyes looking back. You make a joke and realize it's the exact same dry humor your father had. This is what researchers call internalized representation. As we grieve, our brains don't just get over the loss, they incorporate the person. Neuroscience shows that the people we're closest to are literally mapped out in our own neural pathways. In a very real psychological sense, they become a permanent part of your internal operating system. You begin to consult them in your head. You know exactly what they would say about your new car or your latest problem. They're no longer a person you talk to, but a lens you see through. Now, we've all heard of the 5 stages of grief, but modern psychology has largely moved past that. We now know that grief isn't a ladder you climb to reach a finish line. It's an ocean you learn to swim in. There is a concept called the dual process model of grief. It suggests that healthy grieving isn't about staying sad until you're cured. It's about oscillating between 2 states. 1, loss orientation, crying, looking at photos, and feeling the void. And 2, restoration orientation, learning new skills, finding joy, and planning for the future. It is perfectly normal and actually healthy to be laughing at a dinner party 1 minute and then be hit by a wave of sadness because you saw their favorite brand of cereal the next. The goal isn't to stop missing them. The goal is to build a life that's big enough to hold the missing. So where is the light in all of this? The truth about losing your parents is that it's the ultimate rite of passage into your own power. It is a heartbreaking, soul-stretching experience that forces you to become the person they always hoped you'd be. You start to realize that the best parts of them didn't die with them. They were handed off to you. Every time you show kindness, every time you use the resilience they taught you, and every time you tell a story about them to someone else, you are keeping that primary witness alive. Losing a parent is the hardest part that you'll ever go through, but it's also important you realize just how much they gave you. You are their greatest project. You are their living legacy. And the fact that it hurts so much is actually a beautiful thing. It's the proof of how much you were loved and how much you love back. You aren't walking this path alone. You're walking it with everything they taught you, built into the very fabric of who you are. The relationship hasn't ended, it's just changed form. If you've recently lost someone and this helped you feel a little more grounded today, please subscribe. We're building a community here where we talk about the heavy stuff with a little bit of light. And if you want to support these deep dives into the human experience, hit that join button to become a channel member. I would genuinely appreciate your support.